Here we go.
Intro time.
From the high plains of the Midwest, I bid you good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever your time zone might be. My nod to the late and great Art Bell. I'm Keith Sharp.
And I'm G. Dressel.
And we welcome you to Life After Life, a paranormal webcast where we talk about the paranormal, UFOs, or the unexplained. And the biggest question of them all, what happens when we die? Stay tuned. And see, there we go.
Boom. You did it.
Hey, so you were just, Garrett were just telling our guest off air that, we messed up every entry. Or every we got it right this time.
Yeah, we did.
We finally.
65 episodes in. Hey, I went back just to listen. I was kind of having a hard day on Saturday. Lots of work, stressful, right? So you know what always makes me happy?
This show.
Well, yeah, the show, but specifically our Single 7 episode where we messed up the intro and it kept repeating.
Oh, God.
I just laugh so hard every time.
Yeah. When I was putting that together, when we were doing the best of, and I laughed like 5 minutes. And the funny thing, we couldn't control it.
We had no control.
And
over
this went on for, I think I counted 3.5 minutes. And I remember my cousin was in the chat room. She goes, make it stop.
Yeah, it's like maddening.
Just repeat.
Hey, we got some awesome guests today.
We do.
Super excited, man.
Yeah, we want to appreciate we're going to have Whitney and Melissa on.
Yep, they're from Colts, Crimes, and Cabernet.
Yeah,
they're legit, man.
We got our bottle of wine up here. We should have poured a cup.
Yeah, we should have
be in step with them, right?
Absolutely.
But how was your week, Garrett?
Dude, it was awesome.
Good.
Yeah.
Pamela, how was your week?
It was fabulous after I got over the Rona.
Yeah,
Nice, yeah.
Everybody's had the corona.
Glad you're doing better, Pamela.
The COVID here. It went, like I said last week, it went through everybody in the family, grandkids, the kids, and then at work, 4 people a day are testing positive and getting sent home. But it is what it is.
I run a damn gym.
I know. Yeah, it's got to be crazy for you. Hey, welcome, JJ.
What's up, JJ?
Appreciate it. He said, new to the channel. Glad I found it. Well,
yeah, awesome.
You're in for a treat tonight, man.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
We got some great guests. Let's go ahead and bring them on.
Yep.
What do you think?
Absolutely.
And ta-ta. There they are. Whitney and Melissa.
Hello.
Oh,
nice. That's fancy.
Thank you. That's just my road podcaster.
Thank you guys again for coming on tonight.
Yeah, really appreciate it. It is an honor to have you guys on. I've listened to a couple of your shows. My wife has heard of you, and she never listens to anything, right?
Oh, wow. Well, that's an honor then. Thanks for having us on.
So I was like, "You heard of these girls?" Yeah, I know. I've listened to their stuff before. So you guys are big time, man. That's awesome. And we were talking about Crime Con. Man, I so want to go to that so bad.
Hey, tell me what. Okay,
so I need to get a fundraiser.
I just show up. And I know you were so excited earlier to tell me you're like, they go to Crime Con or whatever. Can you guys explain to me what that is, please?
Yeah, go ahead and tell him.
Look at his eyes. She's like, "Are you serious?"
Well, you gotta remember, we're paranormal. We do true crime, but we do more paranormal than we do true crime.
I feel like I'm in trouble.
No, you're fine.
Right.
So, Crime Con is a true crime convention. So they have everyone from podcasts to authors to forensic experts to basically anyone related to the true crime field there. They've got a ton of speakers. They've got Podcast Row. They've got exhibitors for like self-defense. Literally anything related to crime is going to be at Crime Con. And it's like the best place ever to chat and meet people. And you're in like a safe space because, some people that are into true crime think you're a weirdo for being into true crime.
Yeah, no,
for sure.
Yeah.
And so it's a safe space that you can talk about all these kind of macabre things that you wouldn't normally talk about.
So did you get some guests? I mean, you had to get some potential guests being out there, right? Like going, "Hey, would you be on a podcast?"
Oh,
Or-
the amount of people that we met. I mean, like BTK's daughter was there, Happy Face's
Wow.
daughter. Like,
Whoa.
I mean, I think I was more starstruck by those people versus like some of the big. I mean, Dr. Phil was there.
What?
Nancy
Oh my
Grace.
We met
Amazing.
Nancy
Huge.
Grace.
Oh my god.
Nancy Grace without makeup was there.
Yeah.
What?
Oh,
I'm a
boy.
huge
Oh boy.
I'm a huge Dr. Phil fan, just
Mhm.
by the way.
Yeah,
So-
I didn't see him too much. He did like a speaking engagement and then was pretty low key.
He
did-
was kind of
Nan-
in and out.
Yeah, Nancy
He's
Grace
busy-
was
he's
all
busy guy.
around.
Of
So
course.
is it
he
like a whole
was.
weekend thing, like
Mhm.
Friday, Saturday,
Yes.
Sunday kind of deal? And so we talked about the ticket prices like a Michael Jackson show if he was still alive. But if you can, the cheaper tickets, what happens with like if I bought a cheaper ticket, what could I do?
Everything except like
Mhm.
the VIP dinners.
Yeah, or
And-
meet and
But I wouldn't
greet.
need that. I
Yeah,
wouldn't need that.
no. But here's the thing: as far as we can speak for podcasters, we can't speak for like the big name speakers like Dr. Henry Lee or anything. But we're always doing after hours things. When podcast or CrimeCon is over for the day, we all meet up at the hotel bar or we're at a nearby
Nice.
venue. So like you get the meet and greet thing without paying for it, honestly. And it's going to be probably 1,000 times better in Vegas because there's so much to do in Vegas outside of that little convention area.
For sure. Wow, that's cool.
God, that
That's
would be
super cool.
So when is CrimeCon this year?
April 29th through May 1st.
And do you guys do a live broadcast out there or anything like that, or for your podcast?
Will
or-
you please?
That'd be
If
cool.
we are on Podcast Row this year, which we've not heard back yet, they announce who's coming, and we have not yet quite heard if we're going to be back there yet. We will be in Vegas for
They better
it. We
get
just
to
don't
it.
know.
Yeah, seriously.
We just don't know if we'll be on Podcast Row yet. If we are there, we will most likely be going live from Podcast Row. We did
Yeah.
last year.
We did last year. Yeah, because we
Awesome.
also had a virtual podcast row. So we did that as well. And kind of anybody that wanted to pop in that wasn't actually at CrimeCon could do that as well. And we had Whitney, I mean, because she's like, I don't want to say tech guru, but she had her like a TV screen hooked up to a camera
Nice.
and could see
Cool.
the whole row of podcast row.
That's super cool.
That's awesome.
With COVID, I really wanted those that were stuck at home and could only come virtually I wanted them to be able to experience it. So
For
we just
sure.
live streamed it the whole time while we could.
We
Yeah.
got to go sometime.
Okay.
We need to change our name from Life After Life Paranormal and True Crime Podcast, which
Okay.
is huge. It's a mouthful, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Well. Okay. So Brandon Lawson. That's the case we want to talk about today. Is that right?
Yeah.
Sure.
I thought you said Brian Laundry.
No.
I mean, we can
Him
talk
too.
about that
Oh, you-
too, but
Oh
it's
my
kinda-
god, that's a can of worms, please.
it's
My
been
wife.
done, you know.
So do they know
Jeez.
for sure? And we'll get to the other here in just a minute. He did shoot himself in the head. Is that? I mean, do they got the skull with a bullet hole through it, or?
They're saying it was a self-inflicted gunshot wound. What
Right.
evidence they have, they've not yet released that.
Or like what they found. I don't know. It's really sus. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
How all of that went down was very unusual.
Yeah, because I wonder if did they find all his bones? They just find a skull. I mean,
Well, that's kind of one of the debates. Is the first report was that they had only found a jawbone, and they confirmed with dental records. And then there was another report of it was a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. And then
how would you
after
tell that
that,
with
you
a
don't really know.
jawbone?
Right.
Yes.
All right.
So I kind of like stepped away from the case after we did our show. We were in Florida when all this was happening, me and my wife, and she became obsessed with the
Yeah.
case, my wife. And so I was like, I gotta step away. But I think that I heard something about the journal. Did something come out about his journal?
yes, something did. So apparently in his journal, he wrote that he did, in fact, murder
Strangle,
Gabby.
yeah.
Wow.
Did they go into any details like we got in an argument? Excuse me, or
They
anything like
didn't-
that, or
They didn't release anything. I know that Gabby's family had an 8-hour-long meeting with the FBI to determine if everything had been, like all aspects of investigation had been completed to make sure that they don't need to look any further anywhere else. And per those conversations, they said that they feel conclusively that Brian did murder Gabby based on what they found in the notebook.
yeah. And I heard both families are talking to each other now, which is crazy. I didn't think that ever
Crazy.
happened.
Right.
Ever.
No.
Can you imagine though, if that was one of your kids, I'd be kicking in. I don't care what the cop said. I've been kicking in the door, grabbing that guy, throwing him against the wall, and I'm not leaving until you tell me where your damn son's at. I mean,
Mhm.
Yeah.
the anguish that poor family had been going through with not getting phone calls returned. And they knew each other,
Mhm.
and just out of respect, they
Hmm.
should have at least called back and let them know what's going on. Do you think they knew where Brian was at, and they just kind of shut their mouth so they could,
I do.
I do too.
I
totally
think they knew
knew.
more than they were letting on. And I also found it extremely convenient that the one day they decided to go help the police search, they found his remains and his backpack in a place that
Yes.
supposedly had been flooded,
Like in
but
10
his
minutes.
backpack and notebook were dry and only found bones. So
Right.
I still have a lot of questions about that case. I will say the best thing to come from that case is that they were able to find 9 other bodies while searching for Gabby.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
What?
come on, you knew about that. Yeah, while they were searching for Brian, they kept
Dude,
finding
I've been off
bodies
the grid.
everywhere.
I've been off the grid a little bit.
Yeah,
I
well,
don't know if you
yeah.
guys have noticed. I'm in season right now. I'm a little.
Yeah.
What?
He's a soccer coach.
They
You know,
found,
it's
wait,
crazy.
they
Nice.
found what? 9
So while
bodies?
looking for Gabby and Brian respectively in the Moab desert, they found 9 other bodies of missing people.
Got it.
So they were
So did
able
they-
to bring some closure to other families
Got it.
Oh, that's
Got it.
through all
great.
this.
So did they identify all nine bodies? And
Yes.
oh, that's awesome. So the family got some closure.
Mhm.
I do think more about the notebook will be released because right now they're like dividing up Gabby's and Brian's like property, and that notebook might be divided up to either her family
Interesting.
or his family. So it'll be, I think eventually more things will come out about what he wrote. I don't know. It's almost like a movie script. Like everything is just,
Right.
oh, here's his remains. Here's a journal where he wrote it. I mean, it's
Right,
almost like
for
a
sure.
suicide. It's kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't understand the whole thing. It's like if the pretty obvious the son killed her,
Mhm.
but yet they didn't have to. I mean, the police didn't take him down, throw him in a room with a bright light. I mean, interrogate until the lawyer stepped in. You would think still they would be taken in,
Mhm.
and question. I mean, interrogated hard.
Mhm.
I would think.
If you
How
look at
does
the
it-
timeline of it too, it's kind of strange because he came back earlier than they said he did. And then he just randomly went on this hike and took their vehicle. And then 3 days later, they went and got the vehicle, but they couldn't find him. And then they didn't report him missing until multiple
sure.
days after that. So there's just lots of questions that they needed to answer and didn't.
Mhm.
Is it possible you think that charges will be brought against them at a later time, or do you think they're just going to let this thing go?
I would hope that some charges, if there was adequate evidence that
Oh,
they
there's
did in
obstruction
fact
of
break the
justice
law,
right
for
off the
sure.
bat.
Yeah.
But
Because they
I
wouldn't
kind
talk to the FBI.
Right,
and
right.
they
Right.
like closed that down right away, which is, I don't know. I don't know what I would do in that situation, but I feel like I would
Right.
try to help, especially knowing the girl, knowing
Definitely.
the parents. There's no way that you could just protect your son and just be like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to go along with life. That just,
It's super
Yeah,
weird.
Garrett and I talked about that. If it's one of our kids, it's like, hey, I taught my son to be a respectable person. We got to go talk. Sorry, buddy, but
Yeah.
we got to go talk.
Yeah.
You need to
Yeah.
tell what's going on. And
Mhm.
face
Unbelievable.
the punishment type of thing.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
it'll just be better in the end.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, that does bring up, that case brings back a lot of kind of memories. That was like a whirlwind, wasn't it?
Mhm.
That blew up really quick.
It did. It really
Oh, I
did.
did. Yeah, I subscribed to WFL in Florida,
did
and
you?
and that's the only reason I watched them, because they were giving that JB guy, I guess, if you guys are familiar with him, was giving a lot of updates about the
Yeah.
case and things like that. But it got a lot of people, a lot of views there for a while. I tell you that.
It did. It was a whirlwind. Like people were obsessed. We actually never like really covered it. We
Mhm.
only like briefly mentioned if there was things going on with it.
My
We
wife
shared
was-
some articles and things, but
Yeah.
we didn't cover it
we were
extensively.
driving from Orlando to Oklahoma City. We make that drive while all this was happening. And of course I drive because why not?
Yes.
Right. And my wife, the entire time, she's like obsessed with Instagram at this point.
Mhm.
Because there was a lot of weird stuff happening on Instagram with his page and her page. I don't know if you guys saw any of that, going on. So it was like real time as it was happening, things getting erased. from her page and added and speculation, and it kept snowballing and getting crazier. So
Yeah,
And
I
what-
think I've made the argument a few times that the reason it snowballed so quickly is because she was an influencer. I mean, people were
Right.
expecting her to post. People were waiting for those updates from their lifestyle, following their vlog and all those things. So they had an audience waiting. And when the audience didn't get what they were waiting for, that's when people knew something was wrong. And that's when things got so big so quickly.
right, for sure.
Right. So, guys, one more question. Then we'll get to Brandon. Sorry. What do you got? Have you?
We love true crime.
Yeah, I mean, we do.
We really do.
We do, and we do
So
so much.
So do we.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We know.
It's
We're
like-
excited. This is great.
For a while we was trying to make a decision. Okay, we're obviously, we do something on Delphi, we're getting 10, 12,000 views, right? Boom, like this. We do a thing on Ghost, you're getting 100. So
But
it's like,
we love it.
and that's the thing is, like I talked to her earlier, I was like, I'm not doing it for money, obviously. You can't get rich at this at all, or even give up your job. I guess unless you're a gamer and you get, a million views per
You're
kill.
not.
But what do you-
Listen, my kids, that's their life mission is to be YouTube gamers.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, you got kids $18, $19 making, $2-3 million a year, even some of them more than that, 10, 15 million a year. You don't need college anymore. That's what I mean. It's sending a bad message, but dude, I'm
I
just
would say
sitting
have
here
a plan
playing.
B. Okay?
Yeah,
Plan
absolutely.
B.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so let me ask you one more question, because rarely do we get actually people from a true crime podcast that we can ask
Mhm.
questions. So, Summer Wells, have you looked into that?
Oh,
We
yes,
covered her. Yes.
We did.
Yeah. So, I mean, what do you guys thought? I came to the conclusion, I really don't think Dawn knows anything. I really don't.
I would lean towards that as well. The whole the swimming thing with the 15-year-old, that freaks me out because I have a 15-year-old son.
Yes.
And no. So I don't know. That's still one that there's a few cases that I have zero opinion or theory. And that is one I don't know. I don't think she was abducted by random people from her house.
Where it was,
Right.
the location doesn't make sense for a drive-by abduction.
But I don't know
No.
that it could be a killing and a getting rid of the time just doesn't fit. I mean, from the time that they got back to the house to kill her, get her buried, and then the police come. I mean, that's the part I have a hard time wrapping my head around. Now, I'm not saying that if anybody has anything to do with it, I think Candace knows what happened.
Mhm.
Whether it's an accident, whatever, she falls down the stairs, who knows? But the timeline thing for me is the only thing is just like, I don't know how you would get rid of a body that quick and cover
My
up
only-
everything.
My only thought is, did something happen at that little pond thing? And an accident, yes, that's where she ended up passing away. And then they kind of did things from there. Or have you guys heard the theory about that Sunday school teacher that was really, really close with?
Robin. Yeah.
Yes. Could she have just taken her and just been she wanted to get her away from that bad home life?
That has crossed my, I told you that.
Yep.
I said, what if someone just felt horrible for her and thought, we got to get her out of this situation? But then again, where do you hide? I mean, where do
I
you
know.
put this girl?
Yeah. And that
Um,
was nationwide. Everyone knew
Yeah.
about that one as well.
Yeah.
Dr. Phil.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Phil did do that.
Yeah.
And-
He had a great interview with him.
Yeah. And he kind of came to the same conclusion. The
Mhm.
timeline just doesn't work.
Right.
I don't know, because I think,
He was a little weary of the mom.
yeah,
Mhm.
very much so. But have you guys ever watched the behavior panel? Those guys who watch, there's 4 of them, and they watch interviews and they're experts on it. And they'll say, okay, he's telling truth, he's lying, deception. And they did Don Wells, and they said, he really doesn't have any deception.
Oh. I
That's-
haven't seen that. I'm going to have to look it up though.
Yeah, it's like the behavioral panel. There's 4 experts, and one's a bestseller author. Really, I mean, I went on a binge the other day and watched everything.
Okay, well, if we're gonna ask questions about cases really fast,
Okay.
just really fast.
I mean,
Is
we
it okay
could
with you
totally
guys?
do that for the
Okay,
whole
okay.
time.
really
Okay.
fast.
They're like this, ladies. Just bear with them.
Hang on,
It's fine. This is
Mi-
what we do.
Missy Beavers.
Missy
that's a good
Beavers.
one.
That is a good one. Did we cover her?
I
I
don't
think we did it in a live show.
Okay.
Yeah, something we didn't do. That was in Texas, correct?
Mhm.
Yeah.
In
Yes.
the church.
That is mind-boggling. I don't have a clue.
Okay.
So
I know, burglary or hit. And
I think it was a hit more than burglary.
I did
Yeah.
too.
Thank you.
I did
agree.
too. And then I kept going back and forth.
I don't think
with
a
that.
burglar just has like that SWAT gear and just kind of
Mhm.
chilling out.
And goes into a church usually.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. And she was promiscuous, we know.
Mhm.
So, I mean, the husband could have hired someone, knock her off.
or one of the boyfriends. If
Yeah,
he wasn't
absolutely.
feeling it.
The husband actually commented on our show when we did the Miss.
Yeah, we did
it
Missy B.
too.
He came
Yeah.
on.
dang.
Yeah,
It's kind of
he
interesting.
commented.
I mean, but
After we were saying, I think he has something to do with
I
it.
think great.
Yeah, that was it. It was a bit.
Definitely no.
It was a bit embarrassing because I did, on the show, I said, I think he has something to do with it. Well, he ended up watching, we did 2 shows.
Yeah,
I
but
think.
to be fair, we were very respectful about it.
we were.
and we were just
Well, how respect? I mean,
no.
I think he
the
did,
guy,
but in a
basically.
respectful way.
Yeah,
No, we were going based off the information that we had.
we're going to be very gentle about telling how guilty you
I'm
are.
sorry that I'm sorry that the person walks exactly like
the-
his dad.
Yeah, that he
I'm
does.
sorry.
He
The-
does. Yeah, and I'm a therapist, so I noticed like the
The gate.
perpetrator has like a pelvic tilt, and it's like that when they're looking up. Well, I was watching the father-in-law walking, was it the father?
Mhm.
And he has the same pelvic tilt. If you notice when he stands, his pelvis comes out just a little bit.
Oh, wow.
But of course, he has an alibi. They were in California. That's what he says. I mean,
Yeah.
unless they masterminded something. I mean, because you could actually, if you had the wife in on it, you could have the phone. Wife, take the phone that covers for me. I'm staying here,
Right.
killing her, and then
Alibis.
But you'd have so many people that have to be involved because everybody that they visited in
Mhm.
California, they'd have to go ask them, "Hey, was he there? Was he there?" And obviously they did that. I would think.
Oh,
and-
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
So, yeah, that's another case that baffles me.
Yeah, there's so many. Delphi is my number one.
That's my number one.
Oh.
If anything would get solved in this country, Delphi.
And
It will.
Have you watched our show? We've done probably 5 shows. We've done a few of Matt Sullivan. I don't know if you're familiar with him. I think we're real close. And I have a little bit of information on it that I can't talk about, but
Really?
I think
You can't.
Can you talk about it all?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, off the record.
no, I'm just saying. I think there'll be
Pam, are you
an
hearing this?
indictment. It's dependent on. We'll talk off the air. There's some things.
Okay, because now I'm like, holy crap, you can't
Yeah.
just
Me
say
too.
that.
I just like,
Melissa's favorite is Delphi. We've actually
It is
visited.
mine too.
We've
And
visited
Zodiac.
there.
You went?
We've
Yeah,
been
we
to
went.
Delphi. We paid our respects to the girls.
Did you cross that bridge?
We did. Well, we
Wow.
couldn't go down the trail because they were working
Right.
on it.
Got
Yeah,
But we
they
were right
like-
there at the entrance.
They were putting concrete in and everything like that in
Yeah.
that area. It's like, it's morbid, but it's so beautiful there. Like
right.
that whole area. And I know they've done that since all of this happened, but it's crazy. Yeah. We went there. We went to the bridge. We went, they have like a memorial. We went to the softball complex that they've opened
Okay.
for the girls.
And we've met Liberty's sister, Kelsey, and her
Mhm.
mom and her grandmother. We got to meet them at CrimeCon in Austin, and we wish them more than anything
Oh,
that
yeah.
they get something from.
I know. What
very
case do you
soon.
know where you have a video of the guy, you got his voice, and it's 5 years later and you haven't caught him? I've talked to police officers that said, God, I wish we could have something like that on a homicide,
Yeah.
Um,
Anything. Because usually you have like nothing
And
like
to
that.
be
Absolutely. Yeah.
to be real transparent too, like me and Keith like have a combined, how many daughters combined do we have? I have 3,
lot.
you have 3, we have, so like when we very first started covering the case, it got to a point where it was like so intense we had to take a break from it,
Mhm.
honestly, and then but we've continued to revisit it,
Yeah.
and we call it like the Delphi situation because that thing has snowballed. We talk about snowballs. I mean, that's the biggest one of them all.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, everybody has an opinion and it's wild. Do you guys think that it was a catfishing scenario?
I'm starting to more because the likelihood it was the whole random thing. Like I know that is so like the odds are against that most
Yeah.
likely
Right.
because they didn't know that school was out. They didn't know that they would be at the trail. So if it was a random, where a person was just like laying in wait for a child, essentially.
Right.
I think that's slim. I don't know. I don't.
I agree. No, I agree for sure.
And with this whole thing that just came out with this
Keegan.
I was gonna say Kyle.
His name, it's pronounced Kagan.
Kagan.
Yeah, Kagan.
Yeah. Well, we could probably call him whatever because he's a douche. So,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
regardless if he had
He's a
nothing to do
huge
with don't
douche
lie.
magoosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one
He's going-
sick individual.
Exactly. So I don't know. Like it's really sus how they came out with that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was nuts on social media
Oh, yeah.
when Indiana
sure.
State came out with that.
And at 10 o'clock at night, they made, that was what was kind of odd. Like they released it at 10 o'clock on YouTube.
I don't
Yeah.
find that odd at all, because if you look at insights to any sort of social media, between 8:30 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. is the prime time to drop something if you want someone to see it.
Oh, there you go.
Well, there we go.
Well, thank you, Whitney.
But even
You're
even if it wasn't, it wouldn't be totally surprising because it's the Delphi case.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they didn't have dogs on the ground. They called off the search. I mean, everything that's surrounded in this case, like, so it wouldn't be surprising if they did drop it at like, 11 p.m. or,
That crime scene was so contaminated. I mean, it wasn't controlled. People were walking around. So even if you've got the killer win the search, let's say he throws a cigarette butt down or something, well, of course my DNA is there. I was searching. So they, but I on their defense, which is very little, because I'm not real happy how it got handled, but they thought the girls would just ran away. Were just they didn't take it seriously, as they had no idea, I think, that they were going to find a double homicide. And I think they're kind of small town folks, I thought, well,
is it a really small
we'll
town?
find them
very
we'll
small.
find them in the
Very
morning, boys, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's what happened. But okay, any more questions about
Man, I could keep going.
we could
but-
go
I have
on
a
and
question
on.
for y'all.
Okay.
Sure.
Have y'all followed the Harmony Montgomery case yet?
I have not.
I have it saved.
She's the one who has been missing for 2 years, and the dad never reported her missing, and the mom finally came forward 2 years after the last time she had seen her and said, I haven't seen my daughter in 2 years. Where is she? And then they sent out the Amber Alert on New Year's Eve.
Love this year, right?
Yeah, my-
Yes. Yeah.
Pam, is there something you want to say? Pam, my wife's
No,
familiar with.
I just
I've heard of it.
I was reading about this just a couple days ago.
What in the hell?
Because wasn't this the deal where the parents actually had been evicted and they were living out of their cars? But even that seemed kind of odd to me, because I think one of the cars was like a Chrysler Sebring and the other one was an Audi.
Wow.
So
Yeah, it's tough.
yeah,
So she's been gone.
Yeah. The mom and dad weren't together, and then the dad
The
had
biological.
the biological. Yes.
right.
The dad
right.
had custody at that particular time from 2019 on. He stated to this is what the stepmom says. The stepmom says that last time that she saw Harmony was like towards the end of 2019, and all she knew was that her husband had taken Harmony back to the mom and hadn't seen or heard from her since. The mom states that she was trying to find her and would go to like schools, or they I guess the dad and the stepmom blocked them on all social media, so she would just go to wherever she heard they were at and try to find them and go to the schools. But it was 2 years, and then finally she did make a report.
And
That's crazy.
CPS, Child Protective Services, did 26 welfare calls
Mhm.
and never saw her.
Yeah. The
Oh my
uncle
God.
actually stated in the summer of 2019 that Harmony had a black eye. And when asked about to her dad, oh, what happened? He was like, oh, I busted her around the house because of crazy. So he punched his daughter in the face.
And
Oh
she's
my God.
She's like what, 7?
She's 7 now. Yeah, she was 5.
She was 5 at the
Wow.
time.
5
Yeah.
at the time. That's right.
And he
Oh my
said, I
God.
bashed her around the house.
Yeah, I was like, it's something weird how he
Like very
stated-
matter of fact,
Yeah.
she had it coming.
Yeah.
You know?
She wasn't watching her little brother because she was made to
Her
watch her little
infant
brother
brother.
when she was
Oh
5.
my
Brother.
God.
And he was crying, and she had put her hand over his mouth to keep him quiet so she wouldn't get in trouble. Because what 5-year-old knows how to take care of an infant?
That's how I
And he
was.
said-
like,
Yeah, absolutely.
And he said, I bashed her around the house because she couldn't take care of her brother or something.
And
And
she's
he's-
just gone.
And he's not cooperating at all. Like they found
course not.
him and he's just like not talking. And I'm like,
Right,
what a
and-
piece of garbage.
Yeah, and one deal too about they still had her on their, I don't know, roll
Yes.
or whatever
like their
for
welfare.
food stamps.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The
Little fraud there.
You
The
mentioned
entire
this.
time that she's
Yes.
been gone.
Mhm.
So
And
they-
so the stepmom got arrested
My-
for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think they're putting so much charges on the stepmom for all of that welfare fraud to get her to talk. And they're like,
Right,
hey,
right,
you're going
right.
to lose this, this, and this. You're
Mhm.
going,
Yeah.
she's looking at felonies
Yeah.
if she doesn't start talking.
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Awful.
Golly. It's horrible that when we got people like that out there, you know, that monsters, just absolute monsters. I don't get it.
Yes.
Okay, so now shall we go?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Let me preface this by saying, you guys wanted to do this. You brought it up, right? And so we started looking into it, and I immediately was like, oh man, I think we're all gonna really love this.
Yeah.
'Cause,
And I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't know about this case. I
I didn't either.
as soon as he told me I was at work, I had like 2 hours. So I listened, you know, like everybody else, listened
And that's
to
different from any other week. Why?
no. Well, you know, life happens, right? So, but no, I did the best I could. So, I'll be able to follow you. I think.
Yeah. But what I like about it is it does have kind of this paranormal tilt
He disappeared.
to it. Okay. So
It definitely
I'll just
does.
let you guys go ahead and give us.
For our viewers that they've never
Please
heard of it.
explain.
Yeah,
Can y'all play the 911 call?
I can do that while you all are talking. I'll find
Okay.
Yep.
Because that's the big
It
kicker
is.
on this
it. I
case.
couldn't understand. It sounded like he was just mumbling to me.
That's why it's such a big conversation
Right.
piece, because it's all what in you
Okay.
in what you hear.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll
and
definitely
everybody-
try to break it down a little bit of what
Mhm.
we think. I mean, obviously, we're not experts, we've listened to it probably 700,000 times.
Right, for sure.
But we have, kind of thoughts on it at least.
Mhm.
Okay.
So basically, synopsis here. We'll shorten it down a little bit because Melissa and I could talk about this for probably 4.5 hours if we needed to.
That's fine.
So on August 8th of 2013, Brandon Lawson got in an argument with his common law wife at home. In the middle of the night, he decided to up and go to his father's house to cool down and ran out of gas on the side of the road. And he didn't run out of the gas like most people do, where they coast to a stop on, the side of the road where you're out of the way.
Okay.
He stopped on the shoulder where the bed of his pickup was sticking out into the lane of the highway.
This was like this. So this happened in Texas,
Mhm.
from San Angelo. That's where he was leaving from. And it's like a 2-lane country road. It's not like deserted at all. There's houses, but houses more of like when people are going hunting. So they're not always occupied, but it's a
For
very
sure.
big area for like, and Whitney
Oil
knows this more.
field.
Oil field people.
Gotcha. Yeah. Gotcha.
So it's a decently busy road. I mean, it's not like desolate at all.
Probably not in the middle of the night, but it's still like
But
people are
somebody
going
saw
through
it.
there.
Somebody
Mhm.
saw the truck in the middle of the night, though, right?
Exactly.
So-
He would call his brother and tell him, I ran out of gas. I need you to bring me a gas can. Same thing I feel like everyone has done in their lifetime at some point is run out of gas.
Yep.
Remember,
Called-
he's only like 30 minutes from his house. So he barely left. His dad lived like 4 hours away.
Which
So
is, yeah.
yes. And his brother lived in the same town as him. So his brother wouldn't
Right.
have to drive.
His
too
brother,
far.
that's Kyle, right?
Yes.
I think.
Kyle.
And he lives 5 minutes from his house, from what,
Yes.
what I heard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And where Brandon ran out of gas was a 6-minute walk, 6 miles.
Yeah.
To
Oh,
the
so I
nearest
don't
gas
think it is-
station.
Yeah, it was just a few miles. Like if you're driving it, it would take you like 2 or 3 minutes to
Yeah.
get to the gas station. But I mean,
Interesting.
walking, you
It
can
may take a
easily.
little
And Brandon knew this area. Like this is where he worked, he lived. Like
Yeah.
so he knew that there was a gas station in the town of Bront.
Mm-hmm. And this is, again, middle of the night. He calls 911. Now, at the time in this location, there was not much cell phone reception because it was 3 towers, but they were really far away. And the town is so small. There's only like 5 total sheriff deputies that work in a 100-mile radius out there. And the 911 call goes to the local nursing home.
And I've
patch
got that
through.
now. If you want me to play that.
1 second. Let's get.
Sure.
I'll let you know when we can pull the trigger on.
Yeah. You bet.
So that goes to a local nursing home, which they have had no training in 911 calls. So she's listening to him. And it's a small town thing. When you don't have enough people to run an actual phone center, you route it to whoever was going to have a 24-hour staff.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
This has changed since then, though.
Yes,
because
this was back in
of
2013.
Brandon Lawson's case,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So it disconnected a couple of times. There's a little bit of miscommunication about where he actually ran out of gas. She asked him if he needs emergency personnel, and he says, no, I need cops. And she's like, okay, well, where are you? And he said, I'm on the side of the road headed towards Abilene. And so they dispatch a cop who goes north of Bront, Texas, looking for him, doesn't find anything. Then a truck passes his vehicle, calls 911 and says, hey, there's a truck in the middle of the road. Someone needs to come take care of it. Someone's going to get hurt. So they dispatch another sheriff officer for south of Bront, which is where Brandon actually was. But if you'll play the 911 call, you'll understand the confusion.
Okay.
That's creepy. Coming up on a truck like that in the middle of the night.
I'm getting there.
I would call the cops. I would call the cops too, just so you know.
Come on.
I call the cops for everything. I know. I'm like
2009, 2013, 0,
What the hell is that?
and 38 seconds. 911 emergency.
Yes, I'm in the middle of the field. It's like we're just pushing guys over. Right here going towards Abilene on both sides. My truck ran out of gas. There's one car here. You got to take it to the woods. Please hurry.
Okay, now run that by me.
We're not talking to him. I actually ran into him.
Ah, you ran into him. Okay.
Got the first guy.
Do you need an ambulance?
Yeah. No, I need the cops.
Okay. Is anybody hurt? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Okay.
So, yeah,
Ooh.
a lot of the words are very, very mumbled. You can kind of hear. Obviously, he ran out of gas. Sometimes when it says, oh, it sounds like, oh, we're here on both sides. I don't know if that kind of sounds like, oh, we're here on the Bront side. Obviously, you can tell he's kind of like either out of breath, running,
intoxicated a little bit.
intoxicated. Yes,
Mhm.
something is going on with him. Now, the fact that he asked for the cops, I think is significant.
Super.
Because so when the law enforcement do come and find the truck off to the side, the sheriff's deputy gets there about the time that Kyle, his brother, gets there. They're both pulling up at the same time.
From opposite directions.
Yes,
Right.
opposite
Okay.
directions. So Brandon's talking to Kyle periodically throughout this, but it's like the call's dropping or he's hanging up. Brandon is. So Kyle pulls up and he's talking to Brandon, and Brandon's like, there's a cop there. I'm not really coming out. This is from what Kyle says. Like, he's like, I'm going to wait till the cop leaves. I don't want to come out, because Brandon did have a warrant out. Even
A very, very old warrant.
a very old warrant. And he had actually been to jail since then. So to me, like, it would have been cleared up. And he didn't even know he had the warrant until he was going to register his vehicle and kind of get all that. And they were like, hey, you have a warrant. And so he was getting it taken care of. However, that night, see, and that's the part I don't understand. He asks for the police, but then once they're there, he doesn't want to come out of the woods.
Right.
Was he a drug user at all? Or
He did have a history of methamphetamine use. He was clean for
so
a
we got
while.
paranoia, maybe.
Mhm.
Yes.
He was clean
Okay.
for a while. He had just recently gotten a new job, gotten hired on at a new job, and had passed a drug test.
Okay.
And they think he may have had a relapse around this time, but there
Gotcha.
was not any guaranteed confirming
Yeah.
data of that.
And the warrant was 8 years old, isn't that right?
Yes,
Something like
yes.
that.
Very old.
And the warrant was for what now?
Oh,
Oh
It wasn't a felony warrant, right?
no,
just
it was a misdemeanor. It was
like a bench warrant.
Yeah.
something.
And he, like Melissa said, he had gone to jail and done some time to like pay off the time, like you can go to jail
Gotcha.
and pay off your
Time
warrants.
served.
Time served, yes. So he had gone to do that, and he thought he had completed everything, because why would they let him complete that if he
Right,
still
for
had
sure.
warrants out?
Yeah.
So there was some miscommunication somewhere, or some miscalculations, something along those lines. They were trying to figure out why he still had these warrants. But he didn't want to come out when the cop was there in case he was going to get arrested. He was fixing to start a new job. He had 4 kids. He had a sick baby at home. Like, there's a lot of things going on in his personal life that just is strange. Now, it sounds like he says he hit someone, which his vehicle had 0 damage on it.
Wow.
So he didn't hit anyone, and no one hit him.
So what do you think he was referring to?
And I've heard other people say they thought he said they shot someone or shoot someone.
Oh,
or
yes.
something
Well,
like that.
I think there's more to that call. Or is it a second call?
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Should I play it?
If you still have it up, yes.
I do. Hang on. I'm new at this, so you guys gotta.
Oh, you're great.
Yes, you got this.
Look at this.
You ran into him. Okay. That's the first guy. Do you need an ambulance? You ran into him. Okay. That's the first guy. Do you need an ambulance?
What?
There's a second person.
Oh.
You can hear him saying,
what is
he's
this
saying
video?
protect yourself. No, they're breaking it down.
You ran into him. Okay. That's the first guy.
Oh, I did hear that.
Okay.
Protect
Do you need an
yourself.
ambulance?
Oh, hang on a second. It's like something about being shot.
You ran into him. Okay.
I'm going to go back.
You ran into him. Okay. That's the first guy. Do you need an
Dang.
ambulance?
Okay, so girls, I'm sorry, ladies.
You ran into him. Okay. That's the first guy. Do you need an ambulance?
Bang.
Oh my God, I heard that.
Let's see what they have to say. I'm
Okay.
curious what Melissa and Whitney are going to say about
Yeah,
this.
that's the end of that video anyway, unless we want to
Because
watch
there
Top
were-
Secret.
What is it, like a revolver or something, or the shell casings, like
No, there was nothing found.
blood?
They didn't-
So-
blood.
Nope, no blood.
Did you guys
the-
hear a bang? I thought I heard a bang.
So, well, Whitney, Whitney, you talk about that one. We went out to this location as well. Actually, we've been out to this location a few times.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
So when we first heard of this case and we first listened to this 911 call first, we were on this page that there was someone in the background, that there was a gunshot, that there was something sinister going on.
Yep.
When we go out to this location and we see the pictures of his vehicle, we see where it's located, we interview people that are close to the family and do our own research on this, there's no evidence to prove that there was any other person out there, a gunshot, a gun, that they hit someone, that he was injured. There was not a shred of evidence found. Not a piece of a shirt, not a drop of a blood.
Yeah, the crime scene is literally the truck,
Yes.
Yes.
and then it
And
just,
the surrounding areas. I mean, they
Yeah.
searched the surrounding areas, but there wasn't a drop of blood.
right.
There was not a shell casing. There was not what looked like a scuffle, or think of like if you're running away from someone and you jump over a fence. Does your shirt tear and there's a piece of fabric on the barbed wire fence? Because
Drag
all
marks.
around
Yeah.
is barbed wire fence, or
Drag marks, yeah,
footprints where you're running in the dirt. There was nothing.
for sure.
That loud sound, what we think it is. So right down from where from where Brandon's truck was found was like a small little bridge over the
Mhm.
Colorado River. This is a tiny river. It's not even really worth mentioning because it's tiny, but it is a bridge. And this was a road that a lot of diesel trucks went down. So it does sound like that when you're going over that bridge.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
could be that sound. The truck that drove by and that almost hit and that ended up calling 911, he said there was no other cars out there when he drove by. And we literally have a timeline of minute by minute to see, like, okay, if someone was out there, could they have left before he saw them? could they come after, like, oh, if somebody was chasing Brandon, like maybe the truck driver went over there first and then they came after. But like, it is such a
Tight
small
timeline. I
timeline.
think when we counted it out, it was a 45-second difference. Like we had a
Jesus.
45-second window of where something could happen. But the cops did not pass any vehicles. Kyle did not pass any vehicles. The truck did not pass any other
Right.
vehicles.
And they're all coming
So,
from different angles.
Yes.
yeah. So unless this is again, a UFO or some sort of invisible vehicle or like
Or
the
a Bigfoot.
Batmobile, there's not, or a Bigfoot. Yeah. There's not.
There's nowhere to hide. Bigfoot could not hide.
No.
Well, so that's what I was actually going to point that out, because I think it's interesting for those of you who aren't from the plains like we are, is like this location, the terrain isn't like Delphi, where in
No.
Delphi you could walk out into the woods and it would take a really long time, or Evansdale, right? Took it forever to find those bodies. This would be, in your opinion, you've been there, if he was walking and got lost or disoriented or he's high and he passed out, would they have found his body by now?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
I would think so. Definitely.
Yes.
Okay.
It's kind of treacherous terrain. We're talking about cacti. We went out for a search there a week ago for him, and this was the first time we actually did like a foot search on land around there, and it is thick. It's got like those mesquite trees and cactus literally everywhere. It is, I mean, we were still pulling out stickers from our legs a week later.
If you pull up that link I just shared you, it'll show you the terrain. I just shared with you in the private chat. If you can share that on the screen, you'll see this is exactly where his truck was found, and you'll understand the terrain. It looks flat, but it is not flat.
It's definitely not flat.
But you could easily break an ankle. And I mean, Melissa and I were there 2 weeks ago, and we're still pulling cactus thorns out of our legs.
However, I feel like if he would have broke his ankle, he still could have crawled out of wherever he was at. Like, in my mind.
Right, definitely.
I don't think, I don't know. He would have
you would see
stumbled
something,
upon
right?
something.
Like,
Yeah.
if the terrain is that treacherous, like what I think about is you would see torn clothing. You would see something. Am I wrong?
Drips of blood.
Right.
Something
would say, hey, so when did the actual first massive search happen, or did one happen?
There was a few searches done, not as much as you would like to hope for a missing person.
Right.
I think 2 weeks later, they came out with helicopters. Was it 2 weeks? It took a little bit to gather it up.
I think only Ledessa, his wife, she went in a plane.
She paid for that, didn't she?
Yes. She paid for that. I don't know if they did helicopters.
Well, I think that it was a helicopter, not an actual plane, but they did an air search kind of a thing.
They radar. Took four-wheelers out, kind of go over some of the terrain. There was a lot of issues with getting permission to go on to like the landowners. Yes. So that's always been a thing.
Yeah.
Right.
It's giving me access denied.
Oops.
Yeah, sorry. I've clicked on it twice.
So have they been able to gain access to all the land that they want to search, or are people still holding out? Does that make sense?
It's a tough question.
Appropriately.
For a long time, landowners were not allowing searches to happen because of liability issues. They just didn't want someone to get hurt on their land.
Right.
And a lot of those landowners use that for hunting, because there is a lot of, to answer Randy's question, there are a lot of wild animals there. Just on the side of the road when we were standing at Brandon's memorial, there was 5 to 7 dead hogs.
Yeah.
Just from getting hit by cars. Massive hogs.
Yeah. Dangerous animals.
Yes. So that's a thing, there could be a lot of predatory animals out there that could definitely cause some issues. There's still a lot of land that could be searched. There's still a lot of areas that have not been touched. They did do the infrared radar looking for heat signatures. They did drone searches looking for specific colored shirts or literally anything they could possibly find.
Right. And no evidence.
No evidence.
Could the trucker have something to do with it?
Unlikely, because again, the timeline, by the time he passed Brandon's vehicle, went into town and called, there's not enough time for I wouldn't consider enough time for someone to
What if he killed him, threw him
murder
in the back of the
someone?
trailer, drove off with him, got rid of the body miles and miles and miles away?
There would be evidence on the road, I would assume. If someone was hit by an 18-wheeler going 70 miles an hour, there's going to be some sort of
Well, no, I don't
debris.
mean hitting him. I mean, if he was stopped, like just, like for instance, a serial killer. I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but I'm just saying, what if he abducted him or got him in a truck, shot him, drove off? He's going down, so he could take him wherever the hell he wanted, dump him 200 miles away, something like that. I mean,
the truck driver stopped in that town of Bront, like at that next gas station. And apparently while he was like filling up with gas, he went in and talked to the clerk there and was saying like, oh, there's this guy on the road. And like together they decided to call the police. I don't know.
It's one of those
he wouldn't want to bring attention to him. So he wouldn't even call.
This isn't Zodiac. This is not a
Well,
Zodiac.
I also think that this is it's very similar, like we were just talking about on Delphi, like the chance of the opportunity that someone's on the side of the road for him to just pick up to fulfill whatever serial killer fantasy he has. That's a pretty slim chance. No one knew he was going to run out of gas on the side. Like it would have to be the perfect opportunity and the perfect storm for that to happen.
I mean, it happens, but I just think the likelihood is very low.
Yeah, I mean, when things like that happen, also there's normally evidence left behind because it is spur of the moment. It is an opportunistic. It's not well planned out, right? And we don't think that anybody's sitting around planning the abduction of Brandon necessarily, right? There was no cartel. Oh, hey.
Well, I mean, yeah, that was something I heard someone said that maybe he came in on a drug deal, something like that. Saw something he shouldn't have saw.
I heard a biker theory.
Bike, really?
Yeah. Because he does say like on both sides of the road, headed towards Abilene, maybe something like that in the phone call. Yeah. And somebody was like, "Well, what if it was like there's motorcycles on both sides or something?" I don't know.
Well, we've talked about that. There's speculation that that's what was said. I personally think he says I'm headed towards Abilene on the Bront side.
Okay.
Meaning headed towards Bront.
Right.
But it's all in how you hear what you hear.
And you would probably hear.
And his car was just in the middle of the road. Is that correct?
It wasn't quite in the middle. The bed. He I speak for a living, and I can't speak today. Apparently, He drove a Ford F-150, and the bed of his truck was in the lane, not completely, but it was not in a location to where you have to swerve into the oncoming traffic to go around.
And it was like right after a kind of scary curve. So you can't really see a lot coming around that curve. So the truck driver said he actually had to swerve to miss it. I mean, luckily the truck was white because I think it could have been completely different if it was. And black, it is like dark pitch black out there. Like you can't see anything at night.
Right. And then there's the cop theory that a cop shot him maybe.
Like massive cover up.
Yeah, that would be a huge cover up.
The cover up in St. Angela.
When he says like Stamper, that
someone
State Trooper.
They he's really saying State Trooper, and someone edited the video or edited the audio to change it. I'm like, okay, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's going too far.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of audio experts that have dissected that 911 call, trying to clean it up and trying to figure out exactly what is said. And there's no, when you edit audio together, you get that distinct pop noise. When you edit two lines of audio together, if you cut it and then push them together, there's a little bit of a microphone pop kind of sound. It's almost impossible to get rid of that. And they can't find that in the Staper word. So to me, it's not edited.
Right.
But we heard a second voice though, right? I mean,
did you?
I did. I heard protect yourself.
Okay. Did you hear it from Brandon's end, or was that at the nursing home end?
Oh, that's a good point.
And there's also theories that he might be on speakerphone and like turning his head, like if he's looking that would make it sound like a different voice.
Right.
If he's talking in this way and then he turns this way.
Or it could have been an EVP.
It could have been an EVP.
Just joking. That's a paranormal.
I don't think they know what
I was like, I don't know what that is.
No, that's when you catch like spirit voices on a recording.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I follow Paranormal Amy on TikTok. So I know what that is.
There you go.
Okay,
But
so
no, that's a good point. I didn't. Yeah, I could have came from the nursing home.
The
Someone could have been
thing
saying, "Hey, tell him to protect himself," or
well,
whatever.
it's the thing that baffled me with the Brian Schaefer case. Okay, are you guys familiar
Very
with that
similar.
case?
Yes,
That's
this one's
insane.
very similar.
That's like it's like I watch See No Evil on the ID channel. I don't know if you guys nerd out on the ID channel. You know where they track you on CCTV, and it's always shocking to me. And of course, in this area, there is no CCTV, right? But then we go into like forensic investigations. What happens afterwards when somebody's missing? And it seems like you would come across the body. I mean, Brian Laundrie's body they found, right? So is it just not enough resources or what? Where's the body go?
But
That's
I mean,
the question that bothers us.
Same thing with Jason Landry, right?
Jason Landry.
Yeah.
He's just, I mean, it's been over a year, and we went to his crime
Location as
scene
well.
or where his car was wrecked, and like, how do you not? And they have done massive searches for him,
right? Exactly.
Like 36,000 acres, massive search.
Ridiculous.
Right.
Where is he? Like,
Yeah. God, dude.
And they just released new evidence on his.
What was it?
They shared a FaceTime video with a friend. There was no sound, but they think that he may have been under the influence of something because he was sweating profusely, and they think he may have been under the influence when he wrecked his vehicle. And he was searching things like how to survive in the woods without resources and talking about spiritual awakenings. And right before he went missing, he was kind of, people think he might have been having a little bit of a mental breakdown.
So do you guys have a theory? I mean, what do you think? What do you guys think? What happened?
With Brandon?
Yeah.
Knowing the area, it's so easy to get lost out there in the middle of the night in the dark. And I've grown up in Texas my whole life, knowing what hogs can do to animals, to other meat.
Yeah.
I think it's possible he got hurt and unfortunately perished out there, and you may never know.
They'll eat the bones.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's freaky.
Yeah.
That area is just, it's scary.
I don't think a lot of people know that.
What?
Do a lot of people know that how dangerous hogs are?
They don't.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah.
Or how big they get.
You get a prize
They're
for killing
so
them out
big.
here.
Yeah, well, my cousin,
dangerous to hunt
wild
them.
boar. You know,
Yeah,
these things
same
are
thing.
freaking huge.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Oh man, that's
And
awful.
they don't stop at anything. Like they do not stop, and they're huge.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes. So is that what you think happened then? That he was.
That's what I think.
That he went out, perished, and then they.
Do you think he was freaking out? Like Lisa Lamb
Do you think
style?
do you think he's on meth? I mean, we talked about that. A little bit of paranoia when he tells the brother, "Hey, I called the cops. I'm not getting out," or whatever. That sounds a little methy to me.
I mean,
but I don't know.
I've never done meth, so I don't know the effects of it. I know that it affects people.
I've done some this morning.
different...
I was very paranoid.
Yeah.
Have you
He's
seen
doing
experience?
great.
I'm on a 7-step process. No, I'm just teasing. No, but that's what
it's possible. I think it's possible. Or, you know, maybe he hadn't slept in a long time and he just got in a fight with his wife. He was upset. He was going to see his dad and he was pissed he ran out of gas. There's a million things that I think emotions could have taken over and adrenaline could have taken over, and anything could have happened.
Now his dad lived 4 or 5 hours away.
4 hours
but
away.
Yet his brother only lived 5 minutes away. Maybe it was too close to his wife. I don't know. Why the hell would you drive 5? I would get a hotel room. You know what I mean?
We talked a little bit about that, and I, not being a man, I don't understand all men's feelings.
We're
but
monkeys.
you know, sometimes
we're just big monkeys.
I know.
Sometimes the way it was explained to me, I guess I should say, is that sometimes you just want to speak to another, like a third party person in the situation. You want to talk to another man. What do you do in this situation?
Yeah.
I want your advice. And they were very close knit of a family. He talked to his dad about everything. They were best friends.
Okay, well,
maybe he just needed the comfort of his dad.
Right.
We've met his dad, and his dad is like a big teddy bear, and I would want to be comforted.
For sure.
And his wife and him had just had an argument, correct? That evening.
Yeah, just stress stuff. Him quitting his other job, getting a new job.
And she had a sick baby.
Yeah. 4 kids. I would be fighting with everyone.
That is.
Right? And there's a lot of
Exactly.
other things we left out of this. Like he tried to call his wife, but they only had one phone charger that worked in the house, and Brandon took it. So
that's
she had her
unfortunate.
phone but in the car charging. And then, people out there in the world are like, well, who leaves their phone in the car to charge? My car doesn't charge it when it's
I do
turned
all the
off.
time.
And
Me
I'm
and
like,
my wife
everybody
never have a charger.
We never have a charger either
Yeah,
in
I'm
our
always
house.
like, where's
ever.
the charger? That's
Yeah.
so unfortunate too. But I mean,
I
even
know.
if she would have answered the phone though, the way it was going, I don't think it would have mattered.
Yeah, that's one thing
I
that kind
agree.
of crossed my mind too. At first, when I was first listening to it, it's like, okay, her husband just left, her phone's in the car. I'm thinking, what the fuck? I mean, what's in the car when she's concerned? But then it found out she didn't have a charger. However, she could have also, she decided to go take a shower instead of going with Kyle to go check on.
Yeah, but
the guy
she had
too.
babies at home.
But she has
that's
4
true.
kids,
That's
one
true.
of them being
God,
sick. I
Keith.
wouldn't get my kids out in that. And if
Unbelievable.
I'm mad at my
Pamela.
husband,
All right
and he'll come home
already.
when he's ready,
Pamela.
Okay, Whitney. Jesus.
She did take
My husband's watching
Have
this,
you
so
no
he's like,
soul?
damn it,
that
No, it
next
is-
day. She did take all 4 kids out to trying to find him because obviously by
Yeah.
that next morning when
Like,
Kyle
what
couldn't
the
find him,
hell?
she took all 4 kids out and they like just went up and down like screaming his
Mhm.
name, and Kyle went out there again.
And Kyle left
friends-
his gas for him so that he could
Yeah.
come
In his truck,
walk back
right?
to his truck and drive off if he needed to. And it was not touched. The gas can wasn't touched. Keys
God
were missing
dang,
from the
dude.
vehicle.
Mhm.
They never found keys, never found a phone, never found.
He was in
Anything.
a so
A portal.
well, no, he was in a panic when he called.
Oh.
There had to have been something. I mean,
Sorry, I went right to the portal theory.
You skipped over everything else.
God.
and
hey,
it's
no,
portal.
the state parks who have all these.
I know.
There's
Yeah,
people
yeah.
that actually believe there's portals in these state
There
parks
are.
where people just
It begs
go up.
the question. I was going to say earlier, spontaneous combustion. I mean, these things do happen. No, I don't think that's
So
what
do
it
you,
is.
do you? I know you guys
Pamela,
said
what?
you think.
Pamela, what?
Thinking there would have been a little pile of ash.
True. True.
And with as dense as those mesquite trees were out there, I feel like there would have been a grass fire
Yeah.
Absolutely.
because this happened in the middle of a drought also.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they talked about did he fall in the river and float down the river? But the river was 6 inches deep. So he wasn't
Yeah.
going anywhere because it was not deep at all.
Yeah.
But what caused the panic? That's the thing. That's what's weird
But
about
that's
this
like Lisa
case.
Lamb.
If he just would have ran out of gas, he wouldn't have called 911. You know what I mean?
That's very true.
Something happened.
True.
Something.
Yeah, that's a great
He
point.
was either confronted by
Absolutely.
somebody or he felt in danger. If I ran out of gas, I'm calling my wife. I'm calling my brother, and I'll wait for you to get here. But he's calling. He's got this panic in his voice.
He wants the cops.
He's talking quick. He's trying to get off the phone as quick as possible because there's a threat. That's how I feel when I listen to that.
Well, I was
conversation.
telling Keith, we were talking before the show, and I was saying I have a couple of friends that have like been in prison for different things, right? And when I hang out with them, it's funny because they'll be like, the last thing they'll ever do is call the cops. Like there'll be like something
Yes.
terrible happening. They're like, nah, we're good. Let's not get that. So, just him having a warrant and stuff, for me, that was pretty compelling, right? Because it would not just anything would push him to the point of being like, okay, I don't need an ambulance. I need the cops. Like I need whoever's out there. So he was obviously terrified.
Now, Melissa or Whitney, do you have a transcript of that call that you could read that what someone has? Let's break this call down. Let's see what's going on here because there was
it being so jumbled, it's like open to interpretation.
right.
But we can definitely.
But we called 911. There's something's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Either something was happening to him or like about to, or he was paranoid. It's one or the other. Like
Right.
he
Yes,
was
yes.
definitely fearful at that moment and wanted the police. But then it seems like within, 10, 15 minutes down the road when
He
his
didn't
brother
want-
gets there, he's no longer panicked.
Yeah, I'm cool. I
Right.
don't want the police. I'm good. Dude,
Yeah,
but
I
it's-
just shared a transcript with you in the private chat if you wanted to.
Well,
pull
you
it
know
up.
how well that
she's-
works.
She's so smart.
Well, it's a link.
It
Hopefully,
is-
it'll work better.
It is like the Lisa Lamb thing, though.
Mhm.
Besides, we don't have voice, obviously.
Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah, I've got it here. So let me see.
I'll have to put my glasses back on.
Me too. I'm going to try to share this if I can figure it out. See, that's there. Okay, share. Oops.
But my thought is he's coherent enough to say that he knows where he's at. He knows that he's on his way to Abilene. So that's where I'm like, oh, he's at least somewhat doing it.
Yeah.
Right. Here, I've got to stop the screen so I can get this other one. Do you guys use StreamYard?
We do.
Yeah, I'm somewhat new to it, so I'm learning.
So
all
are
of
we.
this.
I think
We're
you're
still
doing,
learning all the secrets and
I think you're doing
outs of
really
it.
good.
You're it's because you're my son-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
You have to say that. Let's see where the call, whatever. Let's see. I think that's it. Does it show up?
Yes. So there's two different versions of this. This is the transcript from the Missing Persons of America. And then there's another transcript. If you click where it says 911 transcript just below it, and that's where the Lost and Missing podcast, I believe, their podcast transcribed it. They're very, very similar.
Okay. So this isn't the one we want then. Is that right? What you're
Yes.
saying right here? The 911. Okay, let's see.
Either of them, they're close to the same.
Okay. Is that it? I just clicked on the Lost and Missing transcript.
Yeah. So do you see it right below it?
Yeah,
where it's
so it
all
says
written out?
911 emergency. Brandon says, yes, I'm in the middle of the field in Audible, right there, or right here, going towards Abilene on both sides. My truck, that doesn't make any sense right there. My truck ran out of gas. There's one car here. It or I got taken through woods. Please hurry. 911 says, okay, now run. That by me again? No, we're not talking to him. No, I ran into him. Ah, you ran into him. Okay. And Brandon says, possibly saying, yes, the first guy or not the first guy. Now I see what you're talking about. This makes Do you need an ambulance? Yes. This can be heard when tape is slowed. Yes, an own voice changed rapidly. No, I need the cops. Is anyone hurt? Hello. Yeah, that doesn't really help at all, does it?
No.
Just yeah.
Now I
What
have
the
more
hell just
questions.
This is like
See, I thought I heard it's not the first time when I heard the call, but I don't even know what that would mean. So-
Right. Yeah, right here going towards Abilene on both sides. What the hell does that mean?
See, I think he says on Brant's side.
Right.
Okay.
I agree.
Right. My truck ran out of gas. Okay. There's one car here, which I guess he's referring to his. Or I got taken. Okay, this is weird. I got taken through the woods. Please hurry. I got taken through the woods. So that means he's saying there's someone that's taken me through the woods. He's possibly running through the woods from somebody, right?
Drugs, man.
Well,
Did they do a toxicology? Wait, sorry. Never mind.
Yeah, they haven't found him.
My
Garrett.
bad. Sorry, rewind.
Garrett on the case.
Sorry, I was about to solve it. I was right there. I was
Almost there.
They don't know. I solve every case that we have.
Yeah, so we got he's either there's some when people use meth and they use to
I
the
watch
extent
Intervention a lot
where they can actually start kind of hallucinating.
Oh yeah,
to the
out
point,
of their minds.
and he's not making any sense. I mean, even they've had people listen to this thing, dissect it as best as possible.
Definitely sounds out of breath, like he's moving somewhere.
This is either a drug related thing, like you said, maybe he went out in the woods and he did succumb to something, or he was confronted. I mean,
the hog theory.
Yeah,
I have to get on board with that.
Yeah, that does make sense. That does make very much sense. And it was just because maybe he thought someone was chasing him.
Maybe.
And again, he speaks about, like we just talked about, that's a paranoia sign of meth is no, I'm calling the cops, but no, I'm not getting out for the cops or whatever. So that's contradicting himself. Yeah. Wow. That's just, that's odd. So it almost sounds like to me this is either drug. He was really methed up possibly. And he could have thought someone was chasing him.
Do you know any of the details on that? Because I mean, we live in a pretty small town. Well, it used to be small. Now it's not.
Yeah. And I got a case for you guys to do in Oklahoma.
Oh, hang on.
Okay.
Our town used to be really small. And so like, I know when I was in high school, and cause he was 26, word would travel really fast and you could kind of get, the down low on somebody. So with him being involved in drugs and having kind of ties to this community, like, do you guys know if he was like, when his relapse happened, if it was a very heavy relapse, or is that what the fight was about with his wife? Maybe
There's speculation that that's what the fight was about. There's nothing on paper.
I mean,
that
his
says that's what that
brother,
was.
his brother will talk about that because his brother was into that. I mean, I don't know if about that time, but
right.
but that's like the only person that says like, oh yeah, I know for sure, even though he had just passed the drug test a couple days before and was about to start the new job.
That's doable.
But other than his brother, everyone else was saying no, he had been clean. And they also say he wasn't like I don't want to say the normal type of addict.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
He would go like long periods of time and just like would randomly do it to, have a night on the town, I guess.
Got it.
So I'm not quite sure. I mean, that his brother's the only one that says yes, he thinks he was. Everyone else is like, no.
Okay.
And with this being unsolved, you probably can't get the case file, any of the stuff in the case file right now. They're keeping everything, as I say, close to the vest.
And it's a big case for a very small area, so it's one that they're pretty tight-lipped about.
Well, are they classifying it as a homicide, or are they classifying it as?
He's still considered a missing person.
Yeah.
Missing person. Okay.
Yeah, and it's been
because there's no. Yeah,
Isn't it like
no
after a year or
evidence.
something, you can say someone's, well, they do that all the time. But you say they're dead or something.
I think it's
After a year, if you
7
can't find
years.
somebody.
I think it's 7 years,
I think
and you
it's
have to
7.
ask for that to be done. And I'm pretty sure his family is still holding on to the hopes that they'll have some sort of evidence or something will be found.
Right. And there was no indication that this guy could have planned this to disappear.
That's okay. So that's a big theory as well, that he ran off to Mexico to be with some other woman and he didn't want to be a dad anymore and he didn't want any of these responsibilities. But he just got a new job and he had just transferred his 401k. He had cashed out his 401k and was going to transfer it over to this new company. Never saw the check, didn't take a single penny out of his bank account, didn't take any clothes with him. There was no evidence to prove that he ran away, because if you're starting a new life, don't you need something?
Yeah,
for sure.
So that kind of rules that out.
I would assume he would take his truck and not run out of gas on the day he's planning on running away, unless that was part of the whole. But why call his family
Why
and
call
tell
911?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
So that is but that is one of probably the biggest theories. Like, most people think he just ran off, and I'm like,
man, this
I
is
don't
a really
You guys are good detectives, by the way.
oh, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Work.
No, because everything I thought, like, it could be this, and then you guys brought excellent
We're like,
points.
oh, we thought of that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This case is a big one for us. It was our first in-person visit somewhere, and we've developed a very close relationship with the case advocate and other people related to this case, and so we hope to see this one solved. We really do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Pam, do we have any questions from anybody in the?
No.
Sometimes my wife plays games and she doesn't pay attention to what's going
It
on.
never happens.
Not specific questions, mostly just people making comments about, I wouldn't call the cops either. Wild hogs are mean, I think, the wild hog theory definitely.
And I can speak for a fact that it's easy to get turned around out there, because you can get, especially in the middle of the night. I can't imagine not having light out there if your phone dies.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Those mesquite trees are thick. You can't see through them. I can't
You
imagine.
could definitely get hurt.
You would get stuck in them, honestly. Like, I would be going through, we have a couple of pictures like of us searching a few weeks ago, and it's literally like you can barely even see me. And I think it was my husband.
We were arm's length apart.
And you can't even see the next person next to you, because it was one time I thought I lost Whitney, and I was like, what? Screaming Whitney! We had walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
And I was like, she's gone.
Yeah. She found the portal.
Yeah. I mean,
I found the portal.
Yeah.
Do you guys see similarities with the Lisa Landry like this?
Well, mental illness is what he's talking about.
Yeah, mental illness.
Yeah. I mean, the strangeness of it, for sure.
Pressure.
If I were to like compare it to any case, I would say it's closer to the Maura Murray case. if you know that
Oh,
one.
yes.
Because she wrecked her vehicle and then she went missing off the side of the highway. People think that she ran away to Canada. There's a million
Theories out
theories
there.
on Maura Murray.
Is it true that because listening to some other podcasts today, someone had said that they thought, and again, I don't know anything about this case, that the police were kind of like, he's missing. They're not really working real hard towards finding him at this point.
There's a lot of criticisms on how the police handled this case. Coming from a small town in Texas my whole life, I'm not surprised that the investigation wasn't done better or more done at the beginning of this case. But I also know that it's a very, very small town and very few people work there. And let's hope that they did the best they could with what they had at the time.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very
Okay.
little resources.
Yeah.
Definitely. And it's the same sheriff from 8 years ago is still the sheriff now. Like, I don't know. The family has things to say about how the investigation, but I don't think, I mean, if you hadn't found my missing loved one within 8 years, I'm going to say you did a crappy job.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah.
There's a lot of other things. I mean, it's kind of typical small town drama stuff. Some people were putting into the newspaper negative things and people were saying that, oh, he just wanted to get away from his wife and he wanted another wife and she was cheating on him when she wasn't, and all these, small town rumors really turned out real quick in the beginning, and I don't think it helped the case in any way. But I don't think that the cops did the absolute worst investigation they could have ever done, but I also think there could have been more done. They just didn't have a lot of resources.
Right.
Gotcha. Well, guys, thank you so much.
Well, you said you had a case for them.
Well,
Yes.
yes, I did. What's her?
And I do too.
We had in fact, in me and Garrett's hometown, a girl ended up missing. They found her cut up into pieces or decapitated, put in 2 trash bags, put behind a grocery store. And that happened. Do you guys remember when that happened?
That was like 2016.
2016. They have no leads. They have no idea.
They arrested somebody,
But
then let them out.
They dismembered him and or dismembered her. And there's no clues, nothing on it. Do you remember Karen? Or
Was that Karina Saunders?
Karina Saunders.
Karina Saunders. Yeah, just totally cut her. It was horrible.
Awful.
And like I said, there was people
I think that's got ties to some kind of a syndicate, though, whether it's sex trafficking and or drugs
or cartel or something.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I mean, we are at the crossroads of 2 interstate highways.
Yeah.
So
Irish mob's really bad in Oklahoma City. Come to find out, it's crazy.
What?
I know that.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
weird, but I do know that my
March
son
48.
my son had a friend that his mom was actually murdered in Tulsa by
It's really bad in Tulsa. Irish mob. Yeah, my mom's card got stolen outside of my gym, and somebody tied to the Irish mob had been using it.
Wow.
Yeah, Oklahoma City cops. We got that picture on their Facebook page,
Wow.
and they caught him. I was so happy because as a true crime guy, I was like digging myself into the case. I'm like, I'm gonna find this wallet, Mom. Yeah, I learned a lot actually about getting CCTV shit. It's like
that's
really
awesome.
impossible. Yeah, it's impossible to get. It's like
I've learned I can't do it.
yeah, it's like really hard. But hey, I was gonna ask you guys about this case. It's something that I was really kind of embedded in for a while. It was the Evansdale case of the 2 girls that were murdered. Have you guys heard of that one?
Elizabeth and Libby. No, Elizabeth and
Lyric.
Right, Lyric.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, good.
We actually
Awesome.
did a collaboration with one of our good friends that's in the area that's really close to that case.
Do you think that there's anything that's related to Delphi at all?
They're eerily similar.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
know if they're like connected, like the same person
Mm-hmm.
was involved. It's weird though.
Do you? Well, because I'm a cat. I believe that the Delphi crime was committed by catfishing, and even with this Kagan guy, he had like 14 phones, and so they're obviously coming through a lot of evidence.
That's true.
So do you think that in that situation, because that was a weird one, the bike was on one side of the fence, the stuff was thrown off the path. So do you think that was a catfishing situation, or do you think that was a crime of opportunity?
They were younger though, weren't they, than Libby?
They
and
were
Abby?
roughly the same age. I mean, they were like 9 and
I could be-
12.
a couple years.
I could be
Yeah.
a naive dad, but do girls that's really, really young get on? I mean, were they hooked up with some guy?
No. But I mean,
Well, here's the thing though,
Or they
with
just
the
follow 'em?
Evans with the Evansdale case though, only one of them had a cell phone and she had left it at her grandmother's house and she only had it when she was supposed to leave the house. Like she didn't have it regularly. So I think it would be much more difficult for her to be in a catfishing situation
Mhm.
than the Delphi girls
Unless it
because
was a
they
meeting
did have
point.
devices.
AOL,
Unless it was a meeting point. I mean, it
chat
very well could
rooms.
have been.
Crazy,
Well,
you
AIM,
know.
you know?
Didn't the older one go to like that lake or somewhere right around there with her older cousin like a few days before? And could she have met someone when she was
Sure.
going with
That's
her
a good point. Or
cousin?
someone could have saw her and stalked them or something. Or
Yeah.
Well, because
Or even just said, hey, let's meet up, you know,
Yeah.
in a couple of days.
Yeah, exactly.
And they did that
Yeah,
that
and
way
there-
versus over the phone.
Right. And there had been sightings of like a weird car kind of moving around and things like that. So, okay.
and wasn't there a guy on a motorcycle?
I can't remember.
Because
I'll have to go
one of
back
the
and look at that
neighbors,
case.
one of the neighbors said that God, a week before there was some guy on a motorcycle that was chasing little kids.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was actually chasing little kids. He's on a motorbike, but they didn't. I don't think they ever found the guy.
The one that with Evansdale is we covered a case nearby where a gentleman would offer young girls $100 to get in his car to
Not
go.
a gentleman.
Not a gentleman. I do
Not
that
a
every
gentleman.
time.
Right.
I do
Yeah.
that every single time. I'm
Yeah.
like, this gentleman, and I'm
It's
like,
for
no, he's not.
Keith
Texas
he's like, I
roots.
like this guy for the crime.
No, but that's what you say when
I
you like
know,
the
I
guy
know.
for the crime. You like
like, you don't really like him.
Well, it's not even that I like him. It's just
Yeah,
like
I
I was
know,
raised
yeah.
when you talk about a man, you say it's
Right,
a
right,
gentleman,
right.
even though they're
we totally
POSs.
understand what
We
you're
got
We
you.
got it.
So this terrible human being would
You're a
offer
scumbag.
money for
Right.
like $100 to a kid to get in the car with him, and he'd
Jeez,
say,
man.
"Oh, I need you to come help me find my dog," or "Oh, I need you to
Yeah.
come help me move this,"
I
or
think, yeah.
whatever. And he was gathering up girls. Several girls came forward, and he was captured in a town very close, and it could
Wow.
possibly be him.
Wow,
That's interesting.
that's very interesting. I did not know that.
Mhm.
Hopefully
At
they'll
all.
link him to it.
Yes. So
Hope so.
any-
He's in jail, so let's hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got any more questions?
Dude, this has been amazing.
It has been.
From chat, Randy Ray. Have you guys heard of Crystal Ann Reisinger,
Yes.
Crestone,
Yes.
Colorado?
I covered her like last year, and that disappearance is crazy too.
Just
There's so
disappeared?
many disappearances in Colorado that are cult related. Something about that Crestone, Colorado area, there's a lot of organized religions, cults, sects, whatever you want to call them,
Right,
in
right,
that area. Something about that area just draws them in.
It's mountains, man.
Yeah.
Ley lines.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you guys study cults as well? Is
We do.
Hey, what are you guys doing next Tuesday?
yeah. Was that, yeah, I know, right?
Oh man, we haven't even talked about cults yet.
Yeah.
Jeez,
We will come on again and talk about
dude,
cults.
that is
Oh, that'd be
crazy.
awesome.
Yeah.
We
love
yeah, the
That's
first
interesting,
book I was
man.
telling everybody I read. I was 10 years old when I read Helter Skelter.
No big deal.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
that's a little young.
Yeah, it was.
completely
I had
normal.
asked. Well, I won't say on the air. So anyway, yeah, I'd asked my dad. I'll tell you guys off air. But anyway, but yeah, and I, I'm an older guy, so it was like 1976. The TV movie Helter Skelter came on, and I got obsessed with it just because it was such an odd case, and did a lot of research and I wrote college papers on it.
On shows.
So
on
that
it.
was. I mean, and there's a lot of. Well, I'm not gonna say that.
Man,
Never mind.
hey, you guys should call up Keith and talk to him about Manson someday.
No, I mean
It's
I
on-
mean, you're probably looking at cults that are present
For sure.
Um,
But you blew my
things-
mind. I mean, the first time we sat and I was like, there were so many things I didn't. I was like, whoa, that's kind of a
Well,
cool.
there's people-
Wait, Pam Wall's giving us a look. Stop talking about Manson. She hates Manson.
Yeah, in fact,
I've heard enough.
yeah, exactly. She's at the point where if we talk about Manson, she won't moderate the show.
She's like,
so,
and
and yes. So, guys, thank you so much.
Oh, it's been awesome.
It was an absolute honor having you guys on. Like I said, I've heard of you. I thought you're not going to come on our show, Garrett. Are you crazy?
Boom.
but we do appreciate it very much.
Yeah, we seriously do. Appreciate you.
I'm going to take you off screen, end this thing, stay on.
If you can.
I was going to talk
Okay,
to you
will
guys
do.
about
Yeah.
something. Okay. All right. So
Backstage.
Thanks for having us.
Wait.
yeah, plug your stuff.
Plug your stuff, man. Plug your stuff.
We're Cults Crimes Cabernet. You can find us anywhere. Cults Crimes Cab on almost every social media out there. We go live on Thursdays. We don't have as awesome of a following as these guys do because we only started that 2 weeks ago.
Dude, I'm coming on Thursday.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
But come hang out with us. We are actually, for all those people in Colorado, we will be on tour in 2 weeks up there doing 4 live shows at various
Cool.
locations, everywhere from Colorado Springs to Denver. So come see us.
That is awesome.
Yes. Hey, and go to their website.
And I'll
Yes.
You
and
guys have an awesome website, man.
I'll put a description. I'll put it in the description also on the.
Perfect.
the
I'm going to
thing
throw
for
it
you
up
guys.
on Instagram later.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Oh,
All right,
awesome.
well,
we'll
Thank
talk to
you
you
guys.
You guys don't go anywhere, okay? How cool.
Super cool, man.
That was great. Yeah.
Emma?
Yeah, so knowledgeable and just they could be 2
Crime
detectives.
junkies.
Yeah,
Sleuths.
they could join the police force and
God
become
bless,
detectives. That was very, very bright. I mean,
Because, hey, cases.
I know, and I
cases.
thought, I got a great idea, and I was like, oh, okay, never mind. No, I don't.
Hey, I really wanted to ask about a Zodiac, but I was like, I'm not even going to open that can of worms.
Yeah, that I-
Zodiac's another exhausting one for me, man. It's tough.
That's like, I got 2 top cases I want solved, Delphi and Zodiac. Probably Zodiac over Delphi, just because I've been off and on that case for
Years.
20 years.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to get solved.
Right.
There's just the DNA. I mean, we just found out that the DNA now that they found recently couldn't be from the Zodiac. They're not going into details, so they're thinking maybe it's a female. But then I was talking to Drew about, well, maybe it could have been the wife of the Zodiac who licked the stamp or licked the envelope or
Yeah. Some
whatever.
Golden State Killer type crap.
Yeah, we just don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, we were going to have Magenta on today, but she's had a death in the family,
Oh,
so
no.
you guys be praying for her. And we're going to try to get her on maybe next week, but I'm leaving it up to her whenever she's ready to come back on. She's
absolutely.
got some personal stuff going on, but regardless, we'll have a show for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Always. This is
So,
awesome, man. Great
All right.
show.
So you guys, good night, and we will see you next week.
Good night.